Hello everyone, welcome to Clo Knits. My name is Claudia and we will jump right into the knitting content because as you can see, the sun is creeping up on me. And so I haven't updated you in what I've been knitting on for I guess a month and a half. So we'll talk about my May makes and a little bit of my June makes as well. First thing that you will notice if you have a keen eye and you've seen the last episode of this podcast. I'm gonna call it a podcast as well, even though this one is a visual one. I have the Knit Chat podcast, which is a audio podcast that also happens to have video and that is on this channel, but is meant to be listened to, whereas this one is meant to be watched. Anyway, if you've watched the last episode, I was talking about my new cast on because I had gone to a festival and I'm wearing it right now. I finished it quite recently. I got distracted by a million things in between finishing this one, and I'll show you these things in a second, but I'll stand a little bit or kneel because I'm sitting on the floor. This is what it looks like. I am absolutely in love with this little cami, little tank top. It is the Gelato tank top by Gabrielle Vezina, and it has this beautiful super simple. It is a simple lace and bobble pattern once you know what you're doing. So it is not complicated whatsoever. It just takes a few seconds, a few rows to get into the rhythm. And she has a tutorial on how to make those bubbles using a crochet hook. And once you know what you're doing, simple. And I decided to make this cami with this Fibrani yarn. You saw it last time. It's the Numa, which is 70% baby alpaca and 30% silk, which makes it the perfect drape for this kind of not super tight fitting cami. I don't really love alpaca for things that should, stretch, like lots of ribbing and things like that. I feel it's too, it's not, doesn't hold enough. But for this, it has no ribbing whatsoever and it's a little bit loose fitting. It's perfect. And the silk and the alpaca is just a dream. I'm wearing nothing underneath, which is how I like to wear my tank tops. I have quite small breasts, and so I just don't wear a bra. All that to say, this is a luxury camisole and it feels so soft and silky on my skin. It's amazing. I was holding it double because it's a lace weight and I still have some. I made it hit, a little bit. It's not a crop. It's absolutely not a crop. It goes lower than my belly button, but it's not very long either. And she offers 3 shapes and I just did this straight down shape. I don't have very wide hips and I have a good bum, but I'm talking about all my features today. But I didn't want it to be that long because I'm a short person. I don't tend to knit my sweaters and tank tops very long because I feel like it makes me look shorter. So yeah, I had plenty of one ball of lace weight held double to create this fingering weight tank top. And the little straps, I was like, oh no, I gotta do I-cord straps. It's gonna take forever. They're literally not that long, because it goes up quite a bit in the back. It's only I think it was 43 rows of I-cord. So it went by super fast. Love it. I made the smallest size, I believe, and it's perfect. Next thing that I finished, and I actually finished that one before. I'm going backwards in my calendar. I went to Knit City. Has it been a month already? No, it hasn't. Anyway, there was Knit City in Montreal, and I was knitting on this, but I was knitting on a complicated section, and it was also holding 2 yarn double, which is not the best for knitting and walking and talking with people. So I had to cast on another item, right? I had to cast on something to work on while I was at Knit City, and this is what I cast on. This, my friends, is the DRK Everyday Sweater. Very classic yoke, circular yoke sweater. Starts from the top, you do the ribbing, you do the yoke, you do the body with ribbing at the bottom, and then you do the sleeves. It's a really simple pattern. Obviously she called it DRK Everyday for a reason, and I've been wearing it literally every day almost, because this is I'm particularly proud of this one because it's my own hand spun yarn. Yay! I had purchased those braids from Wolfiend quite a bit of time ago. I don't remember exactly, but I took all my time to spin 3 different braids that have 3 different colors, but that all fit together in order to create this like marled, barber poled 3-ply. And it's a merino silk and linen blend. So it has those little linen strands in there, and it's quite soft and shine, like the light catches it really well. And like you can tell, I have a lot left. I had 3 skeins like this, and I ended up using only 2. It created, I wanted it to be a fingering weight, but I think it created more of a sport weight, which is perfect for this sweater. I do believe it calls for a sport weight. And yeah, because again, I'm not knitting it super long, and I have short arms. I knitted the arms like to, this. I don't know if that's called bracelet length. Anyway, I made it to above my knuckles, which is what it looks like on Andrea Maury's pictures, and I thought it was pretty cool because it's a somewhat it's not a super warm sweater, it's not super thick, and so it fits perfect with the sleeve length that doesn't like cover all the way to my hands. I literally have been wearing it all the time. I just picked up one of my skein and started knitting, and at first I was a little scared, or I was first of all super curious to see how the colors would end up kind of striping. I knew that it would create this long, not very stripy sequence. I didn't want it to be clear stripes, obviously, and I had no planning in the spinning of the yarn than to just see the colors kind of slowly change and blend and meld together. I was a little bit concerned what would happen once I picked up the sleeves, because obviously the sleeves were going to be different, but they turned out to be really fun together. They're not the same, but they're not different enough that it clashes, because obviously my 3 braids are running throughout, so that's exactly what I wanted. It's blended but not perfect. I love it so much. I love it so much. You know how when you knit a new sweater, it's your favorite sweater generally? Well, this one is that. It's absolutely that. And if you've been following me on Instagram, you've been seeing a whole lot of this sweater, because since I've been wearing it all the time, all the reels and the pictures that I post of me have this sweater in it. Okay, speaking of this, if you have an idea of what I could make with this, I don't remember how much yardage I have. I should go check, but it's basically a sport weight, I think I could probably make a hat. Could make a muscle bro hat and line the inside with, or maybe I could make the entire thing with that. Maybe I'll do that, have a matching hat, so in the season when I can't show off my hand spun on my sweater, I can have a coat and a matching hat. Or I could also make a DRK everyday cowl. I was also thinking about making myself a little bralette, like a Jessie Made Designs type bralette with this. Anyway, it's gonna become something because it's too precious to not use. It's not gonna lay in there on there forever. Then I also knit. Oh, I finished this recently. It's just one. It's a half finished object because I'm actually working. You're gonna hear, maybe you didn't even see my dog, but Jefferson, come here, bud. Hey, wanna say good? Wanna say hi? Hi. All right, that's Jefferson. Come on here. Come on here and hate me for picking you up. Okay, bye. You might hear him eat. His kennel is like back here, and that's where his food is. Oh well. Yeah, here you go. Maybe I'll wait a little. Knitting break. You done? Okay. All right, we're back. So yeah, I have a big project on the way, and I can't really talk about it just yet. So I'm not going to talk about it, but it's taking up a little bit of my time. So I have a half FO, and I'm planning to write the pattern for this one, so I just have a half one. Looks like this. Jefferson, stop making so much noise. Settle. This is my killing me dog. All right, so we backed up so the sun wouldn't be behind me, but now in front of me. And my dog's gonna walk by. Thank you very much. Okay. So this is a little socket, a little shorty that I made using this yarn, which is Biscuit from Biscuit Yarns. If you live in Canada, you might know Biscuit Yarns. They have 4 stores, physical stores in Quebec, and they also have a store in the States, I believe in New Hampshire? No, I don't know. Anyway, they have an online store with beautiful things, and this is the, no, that's not it. This is the Louise Robert design hand-dyed yarn, which is, and it's the Super Sock, which is 75% merino and 25% nylon, and it is in the color, I'll tell you, Gauguin. Yes, Gauguin. And it's a really nice, deep, rusty orange. And I used a little pop of neon that I had in my stash. I will be honest, I don't remember who it comes from, but it's this super, you know, bright green pop of color. And I thought it was really fun to add, you know, this little tab in the heel tab, because it's a folded hem. Usually you knit, you know, stockinette on the top and on the inside, but I decided to knit the inside in a different color and in a ribbing. And to add this little pop of color right here and right at the toes. So I'm going to be writing up this pattern and having people test it. If you're interested in that, let me know. It's not going to be right away, but it should be done soon. I do, if you ever are interested in purchasing Biscuit yarn, I do have a code to have 10% off. I'll put it in the description box, and it's valid on their website. What did I do? Oh yeah, I brought this because last time I don't even think I showed my French channel this. My daughter wanted a hat. She wanted a bucket hat. She's 9 going on 15, and she wanted a bucket hat, so I made her this. I had this cotton yarn, and I'll link to the, it's actually quite cute on me too. I think I should make myself one. Okay, what I don't like about bucket hats is the floppy edge. I like when it kind of stands up a little bit, And this one has a tendency to kind of, if you let it be, it's going to become this tulip type of thing. Well, I had made the edge a little bit less long, but she wanted it longer. So I made it longer for her. And she's got a big head. This one's a little bit big for me. But it's just a basic DK cotton from Hobie. And yeah, with a checkerboard. I'll link to the video I used. I used a YouTube video. She uses a worsted weight yarn, but I used a DK weight, and I turned out perfect. I think I started it and I augmented too much and it was too big, so I ripped it and started again from a little bit higher. And my daughter really loves it, and she forgot to bring it at school today. And that was like a weekend of heavy crocheting. I was just like going for it, and I'm really happy with it. It's the first time I crochet checkerboard, like I crochet with 2 colors at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with that. Then, in my crochet craziness, I saw on social media, just before, maybe 2 weeks before Knit City, this crochet dress. And I just had to have it. It's a crochet dress with pockets, with a little V-neck, and I needed it. So I went to Espace Tricot. I bought myself a beautiful, it's the Zoe base from Juniper Moon Farms, and it is a cotton and linen blend, and it is amazing. And I crocheted this, and I was gonna crochet it so I would wear it at Knit City, and then obviously I didn't finish it in time. And all that's left to do is weave in all the ends, wash it, put a waistband on it, an elastic waistband, and then add pockets. So I'll tell you all about the pockets in a second. It looks like this. Oops. It's gonna look like this on me, huh? A little small V-neck, a little bit higher in the back. And it has this little gathered waist that I'm gonna add elastic band onto, so it gathers a little bit more, and then it makes little pleats, and then it actually has openings for pockets. So what ended up happening is I was crocheting the pockets and I ran out of yarn. I figured, like, I had bought one less skein thinking that I would be able to maybe, make it work because I'm quite short, so I crocheted the skirt shorter than what the pattern asked for. But when I was crocheting the pocket linings, I'm missing enough yarn to crochet one. So I only have one crocheted pocket made. But then when I was talking with my subscribers on my French channel, they said, well, anyway, a crocheted lining, because it's a full like pocket that you insert, they said it was going to be quite bulky, and I understand what they're saying. And one of my beautiful subscriber, Catherine, who also dyes yarn, she's a Simple Sorcière on Instagram, she sews, and she said that she was going to sew me some pockets that I can just hand sew onto the crocheted dress. So it's quite exciting, and it's really cute. I just have to go buy this elastic thread, not thread, but it's going to be like a thick elastic band, and I'm just going to sew into the dress, because what it does is it creates a waist that holds the dress, because it's 5 balls of 100 grams of cotton linen, so it's quite not heavy, but it has a weight to it. And if I don't put the elastic in, it's gonna kind of pull everything down, which the waist is gonna end up being at the hips, probably a little bit more, where I want it to sit at my waist. So I'm gonna go there. I live next to a street that has a bunch of like textile shops and sewing stuff, and I know exactly where to go to get the elastic. I just haven't gone because it's the end of the school year and my kids have a million activities and I haven't had no time. And I have also a lot of projects going on for myself, so I've been quite busy and so I haven't gone. But I'll go because I absolutely want to wear this dress during the summer. That's the reason I made it. The design, I'm sorry, I didn't even say who the designer is, or it is the Maria pocket dress from Courtney Clark, I believe, and her social handles are Tinderbox or I Love Tinderbox, and everything she makes is just gorgeous. It's like the kind of crochet that I wish I had seen when I used to say that I didn't like crochet things. Like it is such contemporary, beautiful, like the colors she chooses and the lines she makes. All her little dresses have such cute lines and pockets and everything that a girl can wish for. And so I'm absolutely going to be making more of her stuff for sure. Go check her out. She's super active on Instagram. She seems like a very nice person. Hi, if you're watching, Courtney, thank you for the gorgeous pattern. Okay, that's what I've been, finishing. Now, I just want to show you something because I'm so excited about it. At Knit City, I had a collaboration with Sophie from Dolfina Collective, and she makes bags, and she offered to make me my own bag collection. And so I went on a big, deep rabbit hole of finding fabric that would speak to me in order for her to make me a collection. And I found, let me tell you, the perfect. In the end, it is absolutely perfect. This is my bag collection. Absolutely perfect. So this fabric, and like this is the extra large bag with a removable little handle and a beautiful star zipper. And this is a project I haven't been working on at all. It has an inside pocket. It's just really perfect. Then we have the medium size here. Wink, wink, wink. I've been using the medium size a lot to go to the park and everything. Well, she calls it the large on her website. I'm sorry. Large. This one has a non-removable handle and it doesn't have pockets on the inside, but it has yellow lining. I really love it. It's the perfect size for shoving in a spindle. So that's another thing I bought at Knit City. It's a brand new bottom whorl drop spindle from Lemlen, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I've been, keeping it with me and just bringing it places, and it is amazing. Okay, I'm not gonna be spinning right now. I'm filming. So this, look at how beautiful this thing is. Look at the wood. Isn't it just gorgeous? Okay, and the stitching have Clos Tricot written on it, which is my French business name. Oops. And then the last one but not least, because I've been using it also a ton, is the box bag. It's called the box bag because it looks like a tiny little box. It's got the Dolfina tag and the Clos Tricot stitching along the zipper. Sorry about the sun. And it is the perfect go-to bag for carrying socks. Like if you're knitting socks on the go or just a one skein project, it is absolutely perfect. I know that Sophie also uses it as a bag for her toiletries when she goes places. And I know I'm not going to talk about this because project that I won't talk about, but I just want to say I have a palette. Look at the colors I'm knitting with. Yeah, I have colors that I like. Here you go. So that's that. Last but not least, what I'm knitting on. I started something yesterday. I couldn't stop myself. I had to start another tank top. So this is the very humble beginnings of the Totally Tank Top by Jessie Made. So this is the back. It's a racerback tank top. And yeah, nothing to see here. That's all it is. But I'm knitting it out of this really nice neutral, like gray with a little bit of grayish in it. It is the, again, Collection Louise Robert design from Biscotte Yarns. It's the granola base, which is 70% merino and 30% hemp. I haven't knitted with hemp before, so I'm super excited. It's really nice. It gives like a nice depth and crunchiness to this yarn, and it is a sport weight at 100 gram, 300 meters or 328 yards, and it's the color Bonheur d'Occasion. Bonheur d'Occasion is a book by a Québécois author that we all know and love. So yeah, I'm gonna hope to have enough yarn to finish this, or else I'll have to buy a second ball. But I'm trying to stretch this as much as I can to try and make it into one. Like, if I don't make it super long, again, because I'm short, I think I can get enough of one ball to finish it. That is that for today, people. Thank you so much for listening to me. Sorry about the noise and the interruptions from my dog, who's now taking in all the sun. And I hope to see you very soon. I will be having a audio podcast and knit chat very soon as well on the channel. Don't hesitate to subscribe if you feel like it. It does help my videos get to more people. And I will see you next time. Happy knitting!